I was gonna say. All right, it is 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, May 9th. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see a full house. We are here for the May 9th City Council meeting. We are live here at the Mill in downtown Lake Stevens, and the meeting is also accessible via Zoom. See, we have some folks joining us via Zoom. Mayor Gailey, good to see you. And there's Marcus and Ryan. Great. So why don't we go ahead and get the meeting started? Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Clerk Schelling, can I get a roll call?
See, Mayor Gailey is online. Hi, Mayor Gailey. Councilmember Daughtry,
Present.
Councilmember Peter Shagan,
Present.
Councilmember Donahue,
Present.
online, Councilmember Dickinson,
Present.
Councilmember Jarstad,
Present.
Councilmember Ewing,
Present.
Councilmember Taggett.
Present.
Fine. Thanks.
Thank you. I would love to get approval of the agenda we have in front of us with one addition. We have Councilman State Rep Lowe here to give us a legislative update. I'd like to add that to guest business.
Move to add Councilman and Representative Lowe to report to the agenda.
Second.
Oh, come on. We had a chance. And blew it.
First and second, all everyone who approves, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Agenda is approved. And we will move into guest business. I'd like to invite Councilman Representative Lowe to the podium.
Thanks, Troy. Well, good evening, council, mayor. It's good to be back here in my hometown, Lake Stevens, and we finished the legislative session 2 weeks and one and a half days ago. And I just want to come back, give a brief update on stuff we worked on Olympia. I also want to give an update a little bit on what we're doing at the county also. As you know, I wear both hats for Lake Stevens, being elected official in both positions, and I appreciate the citizens of Lake Stevens giving me the honor to represent them both at the county level and at the state level. At the county level, next Wednesday, we are voting on the Blake fix. I'll talk more about that during my state update. But at the county level, we are looking at putting forward an ordinance. We put that forward. We're voting on it on the 17th. Many of the cities in the county have already tackled the Blake fix. And so we want to make sure that we are prepared in case the state doesn't take action. And so it's important that we do this because as of July 1st, drugs will be decriminalized if we don't have something in place. So we are counting on the legislature to do something, but the reality is the legislature's had about 105 days to do something and they didn't. And so it's up to us as counties and cities to make sure that we're prepared for that. And I'll take some questions at the end if anybody has questions on that. Now, as far as the state level, again, we did finish a 105-day session. As you know, I did double duty. The good news is I didn't miss one vote on the House floor in the legislature, and I didn't miss one vote at the county council. In fact, I was the only county council member that hasn't missed a vote so far this year. I've been busy driving back and forth between Olympia to get both responsibilities done. I think it's fine for my political life, but maybe not for my wife. She doesn't know when she's going to see me, but the good news is we don't go back till January. We had a good session in Olympia for Lake Stevens, and that's why I wanted to come. We had some priorities. One of the priorities we had in our capital budget was the Frontier Heights Park. And we were able to get two allocations for that, one for 500,000, one for 350,000. That's for the athletic field and pickleball court and the multi-sport fields. And so that's really encouraging for that. I know we've been working on Frontier Heights for a long time. The other one is the Lake Stevens Food Bank. As you know, the city's done almost $1 million towards the food bank. In my role at the county, I think we did about 900,000 or so towards the food bank. At the state capital budget, we were able to get another 675,000 for the food bank, which should be hopefully enough for them to finish. That funding begins on July 1st. And so they got to wait a little bit for it because we go in the 2-year cycles at the state. But that was really encouraging. And that was a huge priority of mine to make sure we get the food bank finished. We got money for the historical museum. And then the exciting thing, and this was very difficult, we got 1.1 million for the Cedarwood Community Recreation Center. So we really went to bat. I want to thank Senator Wagner in the 39th and Representative Eslick. The three of us made such a great team working on these projects to make sure that we brought these projects back home to Lake Stevens. So that's the capital budget stuff. And then transportation, as you know, I serve as assistant ranking on transportation in the state house. And so I've been involved in budget discussions as well as our regular committee votes. And we got a lot of great things continued on in Lake Stevens. Of course, the big one is the trestle. We've been worried about the funding for that. For those that don't know, WSDOT is struggling to do their projects. The money's been allocated for projects, but they don't have enough workers. And so they've been pushing projects out. And so there was a big fear that the trestle was going to get pushed out. We got that money slated, 210 million, 17 million for this next biennium, 25 million for 2025 to 2027, then 85 million, then 80 million going forward. So that's a good start for design, engineering, and right of way. And of course, we need another transportation package in order for us to finish the trestle, about $2 billion. So we're still working on that. The work on Highway 9, 204, which is what got me started here at Lake Stevens back in 2012. That money is slated, the final money is slated for that. And so that'll be done on this biennium. And then we are working, the money is still there for the 16th Street Trail, but it's still slated out in the future. So we're still working on that there. I think we had one other thing for Lake Stevens. The roundabout, we're going to finish on that this year. Oh, the last thing I want to talk about is it's not in Lake Stevens, but it affects all of us here in Lake Stevens. And that's the Snohomish River Bridge on Highway 9. So that's a $142 million project. The good news is that is going forward. We have 97 million slated for 2023 to 2025. So that's the big money over the next 2 years. Then 29 million the following biennium, which will finish it up. So I think we're slated to finish that in 2026. So it's going to be a little nuts going south on Highway 9 when they start that construction. But the long-term plan is to get the 4 lanes, and that will go with the other 4 lanes that they're going to do as you go up Cathcart. They're going to widen that and finish the rest of that. So we'll have 4 lanes from Snohomish all the way to 522. So I could talk about a lot of other stuff. Those are the big things we're working on. Again, the governor's called a special session for next week on the 16th on the Blake decision. I will not be in Olympia for that because just the leadership will meet and they'll formulate a plan. I've been in conversations all day today on it. Sounds like they're close to a plan potentially. And hopefully they'll take action and we'll probably vote on it a few days later and be done with it. So happy to take a couple questions if anybody's got any.
So the 4 lanes on Highway 9 goes north from Marsh Road to where? You said 522, but that's
So we already have 4 lanes. They kind of started at 522 at the Costco there and came this way with 4 lanes. But once you get up to about 180th and Clearview, it goes back down to 2 lanes. And so that section from Clearview down the bottom of the hill to where there's already 4 lanes in the valley, that's slated to start. And then from the bottom of the hill, Marsh Road coming towards Lake Stevens, the Snohomish River Bridge. They're going to start on that $142 million project.
So
over the
that 4
next-
lanes ends at the bridge then.
It'll come just past the bridge
Okay.
and then we'll have to work on the next section, which obviously it's got the wooden bridge there for Bickford Avenue, and that's gonna be a problem. The nice thing is we've already got the roundabout there, and so whatever they decide to do with that bridge, it'll be ready to go to 4 lanes.
Thank you.
Angie.
Thank you, Councilman Lowe. Can you talk a little bit about the implications for municipalities that have already passed a Blake fix should the legislature pass something prior to July 1st?
So again, that's in negotiation at the state level. Depends on what they finally come up with, whether they have preemption in there or not. The reality is there's going to be a cost to the county and the cities for the Blake decision. Before it used to be a felony. It was talked about being a misdemeanor, but the solution is going to be a gross misdemeanor. If you watched the county council meeting this morning where our prosecutor talked about the difference between a misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor, I encourage you to watch that. It begins at about the 43-minute mark on the council meeting this morning. And basically, if we do just a misdemeanor, by the time they send off all the toxicology results to the crime lab and get it back, there wouldn't be enough time to charge anybody for that. And so there will be some costs. If the state doesn't do anything, there'll be more cost to cities and counties. The good news is if the state does pass something, there's about 300 million set aside to go to cities and counties to help with the Blake fix.
Any other
You guys are good.
questions?
Easy crowd. Thank you.
Is that from the monies that have come in from the lawsuits against the opioid, the manufacturers and distributors? Is that where that money's coming from?
So that is actually separate. And so that at the county level, we did sue for the opioid level. And we got one settlement. I think we have another one on the way. The one settlement that we got so far is about 18 million over the next 17, 18 years, about $1 million a year. And that was one of the minor companies settlements. So the state is getting a chunk of that and they can use that for local programs. And then the counties and cities are getting a chunk of that. So the counties take is about the 18 million. There's another one I think that's been announced, but I talked so much in executive session. I don't remember if I'm allowed to share that or not, but there is another one close. Yeah. So there's a lot of that money coming through real soon.
Any other questions?
I just have a comment. So I just thankful Representative Lowe for you and your colleagues, especially being a minority party, for your being able to work so well with the majority party to be able to secure the funding. And as Mayor Gailey said, bring back our tax dollars to Lake Stevens. It's really appreciated. I appreciated watching the extent to which bipartisanship played out in this session. So I just want to thank you and your colleagues for your efforts to make that happen.
Well, thank you. I do work in a bipartisan matter, and the governor did sign my second bill last week. And so I did get 2 bills passed this session, but I wasn't here to talk about that part of it, but I enjoy working across the aisle to get stuff done.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you
would just like to say congratulations on Councilman Lowe, Representative Lowe, for getting 2 bills passed. Great job. Some people don't even get one past their first year. Great work.
Thanks so much for taking the time to be here. tonight.
Thanks. Have a great night.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move into citizen comments. The way this works is if you are here present and you would like to speak during citizen comment, there's some green sheets back at the back table. We'd ask you to fill those out and bring those up to Clerk Chellen, Deputy Clerk Weaver. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Please come to the podium and state your name and address, and then we'll keep track of the time. We also have the opportunity for folks online to speak, and I think we'll start there.
Okay.
Clerk Chellen, do we have anyone who is raising their digital
hand.
or
No,
regular
I
hand?
do not see anybody yet. So anybody that's online and our attendees, if you'd like to speak to the council, if you can raise your digital hand and let me know, I can bring you into the meeting. Only have a couple people and no hands.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you. Then I have 2 green sheets here in front of me. We'll start with Jerry Stumba. Jerry has provided council with a packet that we all have in front of us.
Jerry Stumbaugh, 2514 85th Drive Northeast here in Lake Stevens. I am representing the senior center tonight. What I'm doing mostly here is I missed a meeting and then council was closed, so I'm doing my biannually update. The numbers have changed. We did do this electronically, but the numbers have changed. It was 205 members, and since then, a week later, now we're at 216. We're growing weekly. We have served 1,148 meals as of the first of this month. Volunteer hours are 1,075 as of the first of this month. We are still upholding some of the committees and things. Like today, we had a movie and a lunch, which is generally not available to everybody, but the seniors like it. Today was Julia and Julie with a free lunch, and we had about 30 people show. We do that monthly now. And then, of course, all of our massage, chair, foot care, all of those are still going on hand and foot. And then German group, and basically that's it. I wanted to touch briefly on the packet that I supplied city. It's kind of tough. This was a national census, and it came out this as of the first of the year. So the numbers are not true 100%. But so I took that and just averaged it out, and some of my math here, the population, the national population, seniors versus residents, is 16.8%. We here in Lake Stevens right now are at 13.3% seniors. And then of that, I took some numbers on my opening paper. I just listed the veterans that are members and seniors. And of course, quite a few of them are members of our senior center. I just had my secretary write down that our seniors participated in World War II, Korea, the first Gulf Wars, and Vietnam. They're all classified as seniors, according to the US government and ARP. ARP is 50. US Census is 60 years old. So we actually do have one member that fought in the Second World War. He's 98 years old, and he was a prisoner of war in Dachau, excuse me. But he's still around kicking. So on that, if there's any questions of my little report here of the census, I will field those. No?
I have a question,
Thank-
Jerry. Just comment. I appreciate you taking the time to put that together and for the mayor and your effort to work together to help with our seniors.
Mhm.
And I especially appreciate seeing that roughly a third of our seniors are veterans. That's an impressive number.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I'd like to invite Liz Brown to the podium.
Good evening, City Council members. Mr. Mayor, my name is Liz Brown, and I'm a business agent with Teamsters Local 763, the labor union representing the Parks and Public Works employees here at Lake Stevens. I commend the city leadership for seeking to add Juneteenth as an official city holiday. Juneteenth commemorates the date when enslaved Black Americans in Texas learned 2 years after the fact that President Abraham Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation, making slavery illegal in our nation. At a time when many people seek to minimize and sanitize the ugly history and legacy of slavery, honoring Juneteenth reflects the fact that there can be no justice without truth and reconciliation. For people of color, the struggle is real and it continues. And all of us are charged with upholding the Pledge of Allegiance, which calls us to defend the fact that our nation stands for liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any further citizen comments? All right, we will move into council business and I'll start right here at my right with Councilman Daughtry.
Okay, so let's see what's going on. Community Transit continues to roll buses. We're growing and we're also in negotiations with Everett still for consolidation between Everett Transit and Community Transit. I'm involved in a couple of different committees for that. PSRC Transportation Board met and we're going to meet again on Thursday. We're discussing Federal Transit Agency and federal and other federal dollars that come down to PSRC and which projects we have. And I didn't notice any Lake Stevens projects on the last projects list. I was a little surprised by that.
We have our Main Street project is on PSRC.
The FWPA.
We'll have to get back.
I'll look at it. I got a meeting tomorrow about it, so I'll see if it's listed there. I know that there's been some changes, so I don't know if ours came off of it or not. I will make sure of that. On a personal note, getting ready for July 4th, the chamber is putting on July 4th celebration down here for families down here on that Tuesday at North Cove Park. And I'm also ramping up really strong on the Aquafest. It starts on the last weekend in July. So everybody come down and have some fun.
Can you give us a sneak preview of what we can expect at the Aquafest
Okay, so you're going to make me say it, aren't you?
publicly?
Okay, so publicly, thank you, Steve. There is no carnival. There, I said it. We can't get a carnival. It's just, there's not enough of them anymore. A lot of them went out of business during the COVID era. And we're just not going to get a carnival. We are going to get a couple of other things, especially some of the young gentlemen in the crowd might be interested in going and playing laser tag. And that's going to be down at Lundin Park on Saturday. There's also going to be Nerf Wars at Lundin Park on Saturday of the Aquafest. We're going to have something called the Big Slide out here. It's 30 feet wide, 120 feet long, really cool slide that we're going to have in. Going to have a boat show, static boat show out here on out in the boat launch area, and a great big car show on Sunday up at the Pilchuck Elementary. So that's some of the things that are going on. So a lot of fun.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. Councilman Peter Sagan.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Dickinson.
Well, if I know I'm not supposed to make comments, but I really appreciate them speaking out to Juneteenth. This is really critical to me. And I'm really glad we're going to do that declaration tonight, proclamation. I went to the Youth Advisory Council meeting last night, and it's always a delight to watch these young people get excited about everything under the sun and really energizing me in every way. I appreciate the time they put into that. I know they're all really busy. I went to the museum meeting last week, and was last week or was it 2 weeks ago? It was last Wednesday. Thank you. And it was really energizing. I always love to be in there with all of them. Are working so hard to make this happen, and the hard work they're doing with the support of city. You know who I'm talking about, to help with the Grimm House. So, and I'm excited too about the farmers market and Aquafest, with or without certain things. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Councilman Ewing.
I was able to attend Planning Commission, just continue to be impressed with Director Wright and the Planning Commission and their efforts. And I especially appreciated a follow-up from Director Wright about the degrees of categories for code cleanup. That was really helpful for me and also for the commission. So just appreciate the excellent work that's being done there.
Great. Thank you. We'll go online. Councilman Donahue.
I also attended the Planning Commission meeting, but nothing to add beyond that.
Thank you. Councilman Tagent.
Yes, did leadership breakfast yesterday, and then I have Parks Board tomorrow, and we're going to look at the final plan for Sunset Beach. So hopefully that plan will be coming forward, and we'll see what that looks like. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing I have to report is we have a executive committee meeting tomorrow for the health district. There's still some work being done to wrap up the work of the district now that the health department exists under the county umbrella. So should be a short meeting. It's basically giving authorization to the county to finish up some of the work that still exists at the district. So I'll make sure and report back the details of that meeting. Thank you.
Question about that.
Yeah.
They asked Snohomish County cities to have a representative from the health board, and then they came out after our meeting, we elected that person and said they wanted an alternate. And then I heard just from the SEC executive group that we just had a meeting with, I forgot to report, sorry about that. That they've now recalled the alternate. There's no alternates, is that true?
I don't know, but I'm happy to look into that and find out.
Okay, so we're kind of wondering what the heck happened is usually we have alternates for everything.
Right. I know that we do have represented a large city and a small city representative.
I know that's small city.
But I'll find out. Let me look into the alternate status and I'll get back to council about that.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, moving on to mayor's business. Mayor Gailey.
Everybody, sorry I can't be there in person today. I'm off doing some military time. But just a real quick plug on something I've been working on over the last couple of weeks in coordination with the Lake Stevens School District. On June 8th, put this on your calendar, June 8th at the Caballero Mid-High in the Commons. We will be doing an overdose prevention town hall. We have a panelist, a group of panelists that we have of experts, local experts that will be talking about current trends on overdose, mostly looking at fentanyl issues. And then we will also, panelists will talk about what's currently going on, who are the users, and especially what are the resources that are out there and treatments available to make sure that our community stays safe. So put that on your calendar. I think that the official announcement is going out today. I know Olivia was working on that. So I've been working hard on that with the school district, and I appreciate their partnership on it. And a good job to the senior center. You guys do great work up there, and I appreciate those numbers that you provide us and all the great community support you guys give. That's all I have.
I'd like to just take a moment, Mayor Gailey, and thank you for being here tonight while you're doing double duty with your military duty. But Mayor Gailey has really spearheaded this overdose opioid awareness night. And I think throughout our community, it's so important that we have information and that we know where to get resources. And Mayor, I just want to thank you for taking the lead on that and helping make this happen in our community. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll move into agenda item number 9, city department reports. The first one is on the 20th Street Trail and Dog Park update, and I will turn it over to Jill Meese.
Good evening. Good evening, City Council, Mayor, and the public. I am bringing you a report and just a status update for the 20th Street Ball Fields Trail, Trailhead, and Dog Park. So a lot going on at the south end of the city. As many of you know, this is located at the south end in approximately the 8700 block of 20th Street Southeast. This project for the trail portion of it is the first phase in kind of connecting the city in a network of trails. This project, as you remember, I'm sure, started in 2020 with public input sessions through neighborhood meetings and then also through open houses hosted by the park board. Through that development, we sited a dog park on the property, as well as developing those ball fields. And then the trailhead and the trail will start at 20th and then move north, eventually long-term connecting with the city of Marysville. At your March meeting, March 8th of 2022, the City Council approved Ordinance 1135 for the condemnation of a trail easement across 2 of the open space parcels for the development of this trail to continue through. It follows the alignment of the utility access road that's already present in those spaces. and is also was prioritized in the Trails Master Plan. After that meeting, the city attorney, which is here tonight, and I'm sure he'll share some as well, started on the legal process for the acquisition. And to date, we have received no objections from the homeowners on those 2 open space properties. Simultaneously, at the same time, after that meeting, we started our final design work and then have applied for our permits. Permits right now are under review, and the project is kind of nearing the end of the administration portion. We have estimated that this will be bid out this summer and that construction will begin. And that's pretty much the end of the update for that portion. Unless anyone has any specific questions, I'll hand it over to Mr. Rubstello to add anything on the legal end, and hopefully we can tag team your answer or your questions.
Sure. We have a few properties yet that we need to secure title to or use in possession, and the delay in those is primarily because we have that person in jail. We had a couple of properties that there were transfers that weren't timely recorded and so on and so forth. But we expect to have those wrapped up in the next week or two. So we're looking at a discussion with Jill, probably putting a contract out for construction in early June. And award of a contract sometime mid-June, later in the month. The biggest problem that we had in securing the property needed was the Frontier Manor trailer court. That was an awkward trying to get a trail path through there that they were happy with. We have agreement with them now. We're simply refining the legal description. We have our engineers consulting engineers doing that work. So as soon as that's done, then we'll get the easement signed for our work through the trail park. So that's been taken care of. So it looks like it's going to be a good go.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
What's the anticipated construction schedule time-wise?
Well, of course, it will depend on when the bid documents go out to bid.
The actual construction, though, of the improvements?
For the timeline for how long it will take or when?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if Aaron has any idea as far as the actual, once they start to break ground to the completion of it. I know that we were hoping to achieve that before the rain started this coming fall. Again, once we put the bid package together and we bid it out, then the contractor has a schedule that they adhere to. But I don't know as far as the length of time, how long it will take to actually construct it.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, thank you. Moving on to 9B, the Public Works Monthly Report. I'll turn it over to Director Halverson.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For those of you in the audience, we have a larger audience than usual. I think there's a civic class deadline, perhaps. Anyway, again, my name is Aaron Halverson. I'm the Public Works Director for the city, and that means I work on roadways, stormwater infrastructure, and facilities. This is Mayor and Council, this is a department report. It's a monthly update in your packet. It's a 4-page document. I intend to provide this at the first meeting every month going forward to keep you informed on what the department is working on. And I'll keep this brief, but feel free to interrupt me with questions or hold questions until the end or not ask questions. It's really up to you. First thing is the APWA accreditation. APWA is an acronym for American Public Works Association. The city's Public Works Department is seeking accreditation because it will ultimately lead to improved service to the public and improved safety in public works activities. an element of that program is a 5-year strategic plan. So the city has been working on this plan for a few months now, and it's really an interactive process. So we want to know from our employees, primarily, what are the focus areas of Public Works? And we came up with 5. First, the first one is ensure responsible stewardship of public funds to deliver reliable public works services. The second is foster positive relationships with the public, other city departments, and other agencies. Third, make Public Works a great place to work and empower a skilled and responsive workforce. Fourth, track and maintain natural and built infrastructure. And fifth, improve the natural environment and provide accessible infrastructure. We had between 10 and 15 focus areas, and we whittled them down through a series of votes and language tweaks to those 5. And the next thing we'll do is we'll evaluate projects against those projects and programs. How do the over 100 projects and programs we've identified to date in Public Works meet those 5 criteria? So when you have a problem that is as big as an elephant, you have to devise a way to eat that thing. And the way we're going to do it is score these projects and programs and make sure we're doing the thing that benefits the community the most. And in the end, that will create the strategic plan for the development, or the strategic plan for the department. Okay, moving on. This Public Works Department is also working on ViewWorks redeployment, and ViewWorks is a geospatial, I love to say this, it's a geospatial asset management software. And that's a lot of words for mapping what we have out in the field and documenting how we maintain it. We're still working on that, and we're actually going to go live with that on the 15th of this month, meaning our employees will begin using it. What it means to the public is you will have a new portal to enter work requests or service requests. If you see something wrong out in a park, maybe not a park, but in the street, it will provide a way for you to share that information with the city that is mapped geospatially, right? Okay. The third thing in the department report is the WASA award. The WASA is an acronym for Washington Association for School Administrators. The Public Works Department was honored at this award ceremony for its work with the school district to improve safety around the schools and just generally to partner with the schools. And so Kim Klinkers, the city engineer, and I were proud to receive the award a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. And there's a nice picture in there. We're there with the superintendent, Ken Collins, in the center, and there's Kim and I. Happy to do that. I'll just briefly go over operations. We're working to improve facility maintenance at all times. So give us some time, be patient with us. We'll get there. In terms of engineering, the big concrete wall at the south end of the city, State Route 9 and South Lake Stevens, is going to have a sign on it. We have ordered it. The lead time is what are we at? 6 to 7 weeks. We ordered it a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago. We're in the queue. In terms of capital projects, there's a brief summary on a handful of projects, but the main thing is the final page of this report. If you have it in front of you, there's a waterfall Gantt chart with a blue bar. And so you can see the projects that we're working on and the projects that we haven't started yet in terms of capital projects. So if you have questions about, for example, the Powerline Trail, you can see that we're hoping to finish construction this year. Yeah, so that should help you understand where we are. Any questions?
I have a question regarding the supply issues with Enterprise Fleet. Do we have any wording in our contract about expectations around when we should get delivery of the vehicles that we need? Is that level of detail addressed?
Good question. I don't have an answer for that. Let me review it again.
Okay, I just wondered if there's any remedy or any recoup of costs that we're paying out, given that we don't have the vehicles that we expected to have at this point?
We don't begin paying for vehicles until we receive them,
Okay,
but there is a service impact. So I'll take a look at that and get back.
okay, great, thank you.
So I got a question. I like the project list that you have here. The chart is good. Are we going to be adding the PBD projects to that chart?
Yes.
And when do we expect to add those?
So we're recruiting a senior engineer right now, and that senior engineer is going to be focused on TBD projects. So I expect to add them at next month's report, maybe the following month. And start to see those. Yeah.
Any further questions? Great, thank you, Director.
Yeah.
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
We'll move now to the consent agenda. Would appreciate a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Consent agenda passes. Moving on to action items. We have one action item tonight, action item A, regarding the Axon body worn camera contract. I will ask Chief Bezzo to take over.
Thanks, Council President. For those that don't know me, I'm Chief Jeff Bezzo. I'm your police chief. And the students need to get home to write their paper, I'm sure. So we're going to make this very brief, and they need to go cheer on the Lake Stevens Vikings baseball team tonight, who's in the playoffs. So they got double duty tonight. So just real briefly, I just wanted to go over where we are with our body worn camera project. As you know, we spoke a few weeks ago about ending the contract with Motorola, who was our previous vendor. We have done that. I appreciate Greg's office in helping us through that and working through the paperwork and the information. We have now picked another vendor and ready to have you approve the contract and authorize the mayor to sign and award that to Axon body worn camera. Just there is a big significant difference. So we were at about 125 for 5 years. Now we're at 369,000 for 5 years. But with this, it's tied into every agency in the Snohomish County area except one agency out east. There is one small police department out there that still has Motorola. This will help in the back end with the storage, digital evidence management. It'll also give a portal for the public to submit digital evidence and other evidence to us. Streamlessly, we send them a link and they upload everything that they have, the ring camera video to home camera video to witness reports and all that other stuff, the stuff that was promised on the last vendor that we did not receive. It also gives a prosecutor and the public defenders access as they need to. It helps us with redaction. It helps us with our CAD system. So our officers are not having to tag every video after every incident. That will all be done automatically. So we'll save a lot of time management in the back end of their software projects. So with that, if you guys have any questions, otherwise I just ask you to approve the new contract and authorize the mayor or city administrator to award and sign the Axon body worn camera contract, which is also part of the packet.
Let me just note too that there's a link. I don't know if any of you actually went to that link and looked at the details of the contract language. I've reviewed that, and just let me say that this is a far better contract for the city than the contract that we had with Motorola. Much less onerous. And if we have a problem, we don't have to go back to Chicago to argue about it. So good things like that.
Councilmember Jarstad, we have a hand up with Donahue.
Thank you. Councilman Donahue.
Yes, thank you. Just briefly, Chief Bezzo, now that we've terminated the prior contract, do we have an updated sense of any technical issues lingering from the deficiencies in the old system and where we are working past those from like a prosecutorial standpoint?
Yes, I have worked with both the prosecutor's office and our IT department, along with Motorola. We're working to download all the digital evidence currently in the current system. We will store that and then upload it into the new Axon database. Hopefully, Troy's group will have a streamless process. They've done a great job with us and made sure there was storage to make this transition easy. Otherwise, we'd have to download about 2,700 videos individually, which could take hours. So I appreciate Troy's group.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions? Yes,
Yeah,
Councilman.
Chief, so how much on the back end in terms of labor do we expect to save to offset the costs the increase in cost for this new contract. Do you guys have any?
About 15 to 20 hours a month.
Okay.
You can times that by about 100 for benefits and stuff like that. So you could see the difference. It's about 120,000 a year.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any further questions? Or a motion?
Move to approve the Axon Enterprise body camera contract.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, we are now moving into executive session. This executive session pertains to litigation, potential litigation, property acquisition, and collective bargaining per RCW 42.30. There is potential action to follow. How long do we expect executive session to last? Okay.
There
So
is potential action, not anymore.
Oh, there is no potential action to follow. Okay, so what that means is for the next 30 minutes, we are going to vacate this room and we have some executive council business to discuss. There isn't action to follow. So all that will happen at the end of that 30 minutes is that we will come back and adjourn the meeting. So we're going to ask folks to please leave the room. You're welcome to wait outside or you're welcome to move on to your other business of the evening. Thank you
Sure,
so
on
much
next
for
evening.
joining us.
So with council permission, I think we'll take like a 3-minute break. So the council has requested an additional 10 minutes, please 7:40, and we'll just go at 7.
motion to adjourn?
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you, Marcus.
All right.
I thought I heard a really quiet voice say something about motion to adjourn.
Can you guys hear us?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, we're now voting on a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.